What if I told you the greatest advantage your team has? It's not size, it's not even speed, or even talent. It's going to be alignment. And yet most of us out there, we miss it. So over this season 19, I can't believe we're in 19 seasons, but we've uncovered how small teams begin to outperform busier teams, bigger teams, and why simplicity, it's the secret leadership shift for 2025, and how trust is built in the smallest quiet moments. That's the secret sauce. So today we're going to hit rewind. I'm going to pull in the biggest insights from this season into one episode that you can carry forward into your next 90-day sprint in your business and in your organizations. Welcome to the Leaders Leading Leaders podcast. I'm your host, John Espinosa, and I help businesses hire and retain their top talent. One of the things that I love doing these recaps and doing the season openers, because it's my opportunity to look back over the last month and pull out those best practices. I do a lot of journaling. I mean, you all know if you've been listening to this podcast for any length of time, I write things down. These are practical activities, practical tricks of the trade that I have learned over my 20 plus years of really learning how to build high performance teams. And the reason why I picked this topic of distractions is we are bombarded with distractions personally in the business. There's a lot of things, and to be honest with you, there are more things that are distractions currently in workplaces, especially with organizations, no matter how big or how small, today than there were even a year ago when I started to help organizations and really dive into, okay, what do teams look like? What do high performance teams look like? And what's the cost of retaining our high performers? Because there's about 1.5 times a person's salary when someone walks out the door that you, the business owner, you, the leader, lose in money and in time. So this really season has been talking about how to realign us, how we need that reset every once in a while to say, okay, what do we need to start, stop, and continue? What's working well? What can we carry on, carry forward? And then what do we need to look at as far as efficiency? Where are our constraints? Where are our bottlenecks? And how can we eliminate those through processes and systems and frameworks? So in today's episode, we're going to talk about how alignment really is our advantage in this distracted world that we have to operate our business in. This is where I find in the times where things are tough, whether it's the economy, whether it's just the customer base, whether people feel disengaged, whether your team is distracted, if you can get through these tough times, the challenges that get in the way often become the way because we learn faster in a short amount of time. And so next challenge that comes, we're going to be poised and we're going to be ready. And it's my expectation that this podcast helps you for the next time. Because if you're in the thick of things right now, sometimes it's hard to see beyond tomorrow, but tomorrow will come. And I find hope that there will be a tomorrow, and tomorrow is a better environment than it was today. So let's get into how you can make tomorrow that better day. 3 topics, as usual. These are recap topics. So I'm pulling in everything. And this first one that we're going to talk about is simplicity over chaos. As leaders, as business owners, we drown in the noise and we create this ourselves. Look at your calendar. How much free time do you have? How many meetings are on there? How many meetings are on your calendar that don't need to be there? How many meetings are on there that are way too long? All of these things are distractions for us. They're noise that we are bringing in to our organizations. The other thing here, complexity, we think that something that's complex, it means that we're making progress. And in the end, it's stalling our momentum. It's stalling the fact that we have to move forward. And the more complex that we make things, you will never be able to step away. If you are the bottleneck in your business, in your organization, all decisions have to run through you. All approvals have to run through you. You're going to fail. So what's the way out? What's the way out? Because we have to be able to shift our minds to realize that clarity is greater than complexity. So some things that we talked about in this season, and again, in the description below, we're going to have a way for you to sign up for these weekly recaps, and we're going to get them to you in your inbox. So if you're out there, you're busy, you're driving, you're working out, you're running, whatever you're doing, listening to us, and you don't have a pen and pencil, don't worry, we got your back. Sign up. We'll get you those recaps in your inbox. Everyone, a quick break in the episode today. Are you struggling to find and keep the right employees? You're not alone. High turnover drains time, money, and morale, leaving us frustrated, overwhelmed, and feeling like we have to settle for less. I understand how tough hiring can be because I've lived it. And with over 21 years of building high-performance teams, I know how to turn hiring challenges into lasting employee success. Through my proven lead framework, we're going to analyze your processes, design a personalized strategy, and implement solutions that create confident and long-term results. Don't let turnover hold you back. Choosing this program is that first step towards a thriving workplace. Enroll today at thejohnespinosa.com and build the team you deserve. Imagine a team that works seamlessly together or keep facing the same costly cycle of turnover. The choice is yours. Now back to our episode. So some applications here that we talked about this season were doing that calendar audit. Take a look at, start with your weekly calendar and then move out to your biweekly, because there's some meetings that are biweekly. There's some meetings, at least in my calendar, that are monthly. Take a look at those meetings. I want you to evaluate whether the right people are in the meeting, whether you really need that default of 60 minutes or 45 minutes, because I found that most meetings, we can accomplish it in 15 to 30 minutes. And then what I want you to do is figure out if you can create capacity. And by create capacity, what I mean is you can free up space in your calendar to be able for you to think more strategically, for you to figure out, all right, do we have the things that we're going to need to go into this next 90-day sprint? And if you don't allow yourself that time, who is? Who's thinking about those things? Because as the leaders in the business of our businesses and our organizations, we are the ones that need to be thinking about those things. You all are the ones that need to be thinking about where are we going in the next 90 days and what's the best way for us to accomplish those goals. So for that, calendar audit. The other thing, communication channels. I want you to look at how many ways that you are communicating. For example, I worked with an organization and they had a monthly kind of newsletter that went out. Then they had weekly newsletters that went out. Then they were also getting communication just through their Slack or their Teams channels, their emails. Their organization would send out emails. They'd get emails from HR. Like, that is bombarding. And when you overwhelm your employees with information in messages and communication, they're going to begin to zone that stuff out. And they don't realize that what's important anymore, because it's all just distraction and it's all just noise. So I want you to pick at least 2 communication channels that can go away. Cut them right now. And if you're a small organization, maybe you only have 2 communications channels. Go down to 1. What is the primary communication channel that you're going to use if you are a small business owner? If you're in a larger organization, cut at least 2 down. It is going to help tremendously with the clarity within the organization that you are leading or that you are running as a business. And then the other thing that I'm really big on is create a stop-do list. We bombard ourselves with to-do lists. I have stickies all over my office. I have my calendar to-do list. I have action item report that I have to follow. And a lot of us, we have a lot of to-dos, but what aren't we going to do? We have to determine the priority. And in order to do that, we got to stop doing things. It was the hardest thing for me as a leader, and especially as a new business owner, to learn, but we can't do everything. If we're spreading ourselves thin, then we're not allowing ourselves to really reach our high potential, our full potential in the organizations. So simplicity over chaos, great topic. Go back and listen to some of those episodes. I dig in deep into each one of these, but again, this is a recap. The next one I want to talk about is alignment and how that is an advantage for your team. So here, do you ever feel like you're busy and you end the day and you're on your drive home or you're on your commute home, whatever that looks like, and you're like, what did we get done? I was busy all day long. Wasn't like I was sitting around playing on my phone or sending emails or shop on Amazon. But it's like I didn't do anything today. I didn't feel like I accomplished anything today. So alignment is going to beat any busyness that you try, just that 8-hour day. I found that the 8-hour day, like that is a cultural thing for me. If I expect people to show up for 8 hours a day and just work to be busy and not accomplish anything, man, I tell you, it's just one of those things again that we've been ingrained. I worked for an hourly wage for many, many years of my life. How did I get paid? By the hour. So I got paid for being there, whether I was not doing anything, performing awesome, or just simply doing my job. So for you as a business owner, evaluate, is it busy work or are we working towards something, and what's that something look like? The other thing that I really wanted to stress, is particularly in this recap, was teams can rally around clarity. Whether it's a small team especially, or it's a large team functioning within an organization, teams that rally around clarity, they work smarter and they work faster. I've seen it time and time and time again. So how can you as a leader create that clarity? We talked a little bit about communication channels earlier. That's a way that I believe you as a business owner can reduce those communication channels to where now it's one clear message. So you don't have 3 or 4 messages. It reminds me of the can game. Have you ever heard a rumor or heard somebody tell you something, and then you go off and you repeat that thing, and then pretty much 5 people down that have heard it, if you ask them what they heard, it's completely different. It's not very clear. We have to create clarity. We have to rally our teams around clarity. Make it the expectation, and you will see your team begin to move faster. The other thing, we got to be intentional. We have to be intentional around alignment. It's our responsibility. And the way to do that is to be consistent. And I've gotten to the point where consistency really is an overused word, so I just use rhythm. I played drums when I was much younger, and the drummer holds the rhythm. So you, as an owner of your business, as an entrepreneur, you need to hold the rhythm. If you are off beat, everybody else is going to be off beat, and it's going to feel like there's just no really clarity. There's no consistency. There's no way for them to move forward. Everything's going to feel off for some reason. It's kind of like listening to a polka band that is totally off rhythm. Guess what? It's noise. It's noise in people's life, and it's going to be noise that becomes a distraction. So what are some things? Alignment huddles, some applications here. And you can do this simply by 5-minute huddles on Monday, check-ins during the week, whatever you have time for. It's those huddles are an opportunity for us to create alignment, to bring people back into alignment, especially if we're going through a time where we got a lot of noise out. How can we address people's concerns? Because if they're worried about just the fundamental things like their job, if they're going to get paid, whether the business is going to be around, they're not going to be thinking any higher than that. That's their immediate concern. And if we don't establish the foundation of security with just food, water, and shelter. I mean, those are our basic necessities. We can't get to the higher levels of even thinking about tomorrow or thinking about what we need to accomplish in the 90 days. So we have to accomplish that by staying aligned and ensuring that that alignment is maintained. The other thing, 2 questions, and write these down or just put them in your notes. I always ask my team at least weekly, if not every 2 weeks at the most, what matters most to you, the employee, and then what can derail us from that. Again, what does that speak to? It speaks to our alignment, because what should matter most to them is what's going to bring the organization success, money, stature, brand, whatever that is in your organization, in your business, whatever that looks like. It starts from the ground up. So ask those 2 questions, what matters most and what can derail us. That's going to keep you at least proactive and not reactive. It's going to allow us to play offense and not consistently be reacting in a defensive position. So that one, alignment, is going to be your advantage for building your teams. And then last, protecting trust. Because, alignment, it can be fragile. We've already talked about ways that it can slip, whether it's communication or people are going to be people, right? And when that alignment begins to slip, trust is impacted. And trust is that foundation that built upon many, many consistent actions from you, the leader, from your employees. It reminds me of my Honda Accord, first car that I ever bought, had 300,000 miles on it. It built trust. It built trust that that thing wasn't going to break down. It was consistent. It was reliable, but that happened over time. But when we see alignment get off, that fragile piece, that's when trust can be broken down. So for here, we got to protect our trust and we got to protect our boundaries. We got to establish the boundaries and then we got to protect our boundaries. Trust is built on follow through, as I mentioned. It's not grandiose speeches. I've had some really charismatic leaders that can get people energized and can get people pumped up. But once they leave or once they lose their energy, what happens? The energy goes down in the team. So we have to consistently build momentum. We have to create that momentum by showing up, doing what we do, doing what we say and saying what we do, and making sure that people understand where we're going. And then what can really erode trust? Overwhelm. When we begin to overwhelm teams, whether that's work, whether that's saying yes to everything as a business owner, the one thing that can erode trust is when we don't respect other people's time. Time is our most precious resource. And when we don't say no to customers, or maybe it's the wrong fit for our organizations. I know some of us out there, we take on work and we know as the business owner and as the leader of this organization and this team that it's just not right. But we do it either for stature or for money, whatever reason you tell yourself you're doing it. That is going to slowly overwhelm and erode the trust within your organization. So learn to say no. And then meeting overload. This is the classic case. This is the first thing that I do when I walk in the door as a consultant for organizations, hiring, retaining employees. What does your calendar look like? What does the business owner, what does the leader of the organization, what does your calendar look like? Because that is where your priority is. That's where your focus is. So look at your calendar, take a meeting audit and figure out, do we need to be having all these meetings? Does the duration make sense? And who needs to really be there? So some applications here: protect those team boundaries like your life depends on it. Ferociously protect your team's boundaries. And then look at how you model work-life integration. I don't ever like to say balance, because balance, I think, is just one of those things, those myths that we tell ourselves. How are we integrating our work life and our personal life? What does that look like? Because people, our employees, will do as we do. And if we're not modeling that, if we're answering emails late at night or on the weekend, or we're still working when we say we're going to be off, they are going to feel obliged to do the same thing. So Those things, I tell you, I hope that you find value in these practical applications. I find value in giving them to you. I want to make sure that you're getting everything that you want out of this podcast, because if you've listened to the very end, thank you. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day, and congratulations on improving yourself. It will in turn improve the business. Last thing I want to leave you with, this has been our theme for this particular season, and it's not about doing more out there. Now listen to me, Go Be Great community. It's not about doing more. We as leaders feel like we got to continually do more. It's about doing what matters the most. Create that clarity, identify what needs to be done, and then focus your attention on that. Work in those 90-day sprints, and you will find value. You will find those golden nuggets that are going to come out of those times, and you will get through this time. I promise. So one thing I promise, one thing I always encourage, if you like this season, we're raising the bar, because season 20, it's going to be next level. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We'll see you in season 20. Go be great. Talk to y'all next episode. Bye.